Oh, I just jumped into going live too, by the way. I didn't
You
even
just
do
go
I didn't even
live.
do your intro
The
properly.
warning and
That's why you have to launch it. Anyway, welcome to the Art of AI podcast. It is lunch break. So Chad and I are just sitting around. We're talking about stuff. We were actually literally just talking about the fact that it's interesting that both of us, I got an ADHD diagnosis when I was very young, and he is ADD as well. One of my kids approached me and she said, I think I'm ADD, Dad. And I was like, sweet. But I already knew that. So Chad was just talking about that. I was like, we should go live and just talk about this stuff. And then I didn't do the intro or anything. We're just
nope,
we're
we're
doing
just
it
here.
live. We're going live. So
we're going live.
We'll do it. We'll do it. Anyway, so Chad's going to talk about his ADHD. I today am actually going to be yes.
Have some grapes.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes.
I am actually going to be, because it's the first of the month, I need to do my post scheduling. So while Chad is talking about that, I'm going to get that stuff up on screen so that I can show you guys how I use ChatGPT and a little something we call Facebook Engine. It's something that we've been developing for a little bit that's not quite available for public consumption yet. To actually schedule out our post and that type of thing. So Chad's going to talk and I'm going to do stuff on the screen here.
While you prep. No, we were just talking about how, because I think I was it was in the mid 80s, I think, early 80s to mid 80s when the ADD became a thing. And so that's why I still call it ADD. It's not ADD anymore. It's ADD, ADHD with an attentive whatever. I don't know. But we were talking about how I went to a neurologist, for that. And that, I mean, that's how early I was in the diagnostic process. They don't even, I don't know of any kids that have been diagnosed by going to neurologists, but so
Did they get the diagnosis right? Or maybe they should
no, they did. I mean, I'm there's no question about it. I'm definitely on the I'm definitely ADD. I don't have hyperactivity. It's just an attention deficit.
All right. You definitely have an attention to me too, though, because I'll be doing one thing and I'll go, oh, I need to do this. And then, oh, I need to do this.
Yeah, the problem is sometimes it happens mid-conversation. I'm like, that's what'll happen like on here. Like it's, I'm sitting here and I'm talking about something and I go in circles because I'm like, I keep losing my spot. So I go back to where I was and then start again.
All right. So I'm going to kind of break down how it is that I use ChatGPT to craft the post that I make on a regular basis on Facebook. Now, I'm not going to get into the Canva stuff, I don't think, because that's a little bit of a longer process. And I think that process might actually deserve like its own thing, right? Because taking what ChatGPT outputs and then having that go into Canva and Canva create like 30 videos for you using that content is a little bit, there's like a number of steps to that, right? And so I can't just like wing that, like kind of like I'm doing right now with this. But I can definitely show you this and how it is that I use ChatGPT to create this stuff and then use Facebook Engine to schedule it. Now, you may not have access to Facebook scheduling software, which is totally fine. If you have an account that's been upgraded to, what is it, like the public figure or digital creator type account, then you can, they actually give you a post scheduler. Now, I don't like using that one just because I haven't quite figured out how to see what's on the calendar. You know what I mean? So it's like you can schedule a post, but then it doesn't really, you don't know what's coming next, right? Whereas with Facebook Engine, of course, it's still in beta, right? We haven't made this publicly available yet. So it's still got some issues that, we're kind of working through, but it's able to work more consistently, and I can see what post I have coming up. Well, and now let me just say one thing to the audience here, or people who may be watching this. While I do use automated tools to create these engaging posts and to post them, it is actually me putting those posts together, and it's me responding to the comments that happen on that. So when you're commenting on one of the posts that resonates with you, and you're getting a response from me, it's actually me. I am actually engaging with you and having that back and forth
And
interaction
you know,
with you.
one of the things that we need, as we go, I mean, what's going to happen is, as far as AI and producing quality content, I mean, what it does is, like, I'm not a writer. I'm really not. I hate doing it. I hate everything about it. I'm an artist. I like doing visual stuff. I'm an engineer. I like putting stuff together. Um, and I don't mind, and even my documentation. If any of you ever become customers and see how I document, you'll see that I can totally an artist because I draw workflows and how stuff works. But the thing about AI is it allows even I can, create decent posts and engagement because I just come up with some idea. I can spew it out to ChatGPT and it kind of looks at it and sends it back. And it doesn't make me a writer, but what it does is it allows me to be an editor because I'm fairly good with language and the written word. I just creatively it's a left-brained activity for me. I don't know, technically it's not,
And
but it's like
speaking of like ADD, right? Tools like ChatGPT allow you to kind of expand on an idea without
right.
getting distracted in the idea.
Yeah,
That's
it
why
it
I like it, right? Because I can write. If I can just sit down and write, of course I can just write stuff, right? But if I can give ChatGPT a premise and kind of the goal of what it is I'm looking to do, and then let it write it, then I become more of an editor,
right.
right?
Right. You're looking at that work that you've put the seed in and it's germinated and now you're pruning it, right? And that's kind of how I, I look at leveraging ChatGPT for content creation. Now when we're building our AI bots and things like that, it's a different animal, right? So that kind of prompting is a lot different.
Yeah, that's
Um,
that's a different type of prompting. What we're
you
talking
know,
about, and that's more along the lines of like AI operations specialists, right? Which both of us are. We're AI operations specialists. We go into businesses and help them implement automation and AI driven tools in order to
right.
scale their sales operations, right?
Yeah.
We're not talking about
Yeah.
that using Chat GPT here. We're talking about the
Right.
person who maybe the solopreneur, the person who just wants to, maybe eliminate the need for a social media person, like take that 3 to 5 or $10,000 off of their bottom line, can leverage
Right.
these tools, or the person who wants to be a social media guy, right? And like you can then leverage these tools to be able to produce more content for your client base, right? And so that's what we're looking here. So okay, so let's look at my screen. So on my screen here, I've got a Word doc open. I guess it's not Word technically; it's Google. But here's the part that I want to go over. When it comes to crafting the prompt, forgive the noise. I'm still working on the balcony. When it comes to crafting that prompt, there's really three things that are going to be important here, and I'm going to make this bold, and I'm going to increase the size of it because I don't think people can see it. There's three things that you want to do in your prompt. Now, the cool thing about GPT-4 is it can actually take up to 20,000 words in your initial prompt, right? So you can really get it specific with what you want. But we're going to start here and kind of see what it does, right? So the first thing that we want to tell it is who you are, or who the perspective that ChatGPT is writing from. Okay, so my who I am is I actually have this written about who Mike Polite actually is, because these are posts for Mike Polite. So I tell it, you are Mike Polite, a dynamic and forward thinking. I should put handsome in here. You are my polite, a dynamic. That was a joke, man. You getting laugh or smile or nothing? Okay. All right. Fine. You are my polite,
Sorry.
a dynamic, and forward thinking AI operations expert with a specialization in marketing automation. Proven record of helping businesses increase sales through strategic implementation of AI solutions, particularly ChatGPT, offering a combination of coaching, consulting, and full service implementation to ensure seamless integration of AI tools and strategies. So that's who I am, right? So now ChatGPT is going to write from the perspective of that person. Okay. So now the next part is going to be specific instructions for the actual post. Okay. So for that part of the prompt, I'm saying write 1 to 3 sentence social media posts. I want these to be short because people don't read. You can always tell when I wrote something, by the way. Well, not always tell, but you can get a clue if I actually wrote something if it's way too long. Right. If when I write Facebook posts or blog posts, they end up being pretty verbose and kind of long. I like these to be short and a little bit more engaging. So here's that part of the prompt. Write 1 to 3 sentence social media post. The post should be statements, but questions can be asked sparingly to increase engagement. Posts can reference trending topics, but only if the topic can be an analog to entrepreneurship or business. The goal of these posts is to generate discussion and increase engagement with a broad audience. All posts should be written to be easily understood by a person with a sixth grade reading and comprehension level. The post can and should call back and reference the previous post where appropriate. So there's a lot going on there, so I'm going to break this down, but hold on 1 second. Hold on a second. You can tell that this is lunch break because I've got the Charlotte here because she's got a little cough going and she wants grapes right now. So right during our little broadcast, I'm going to get some grapes out of here and she's going to go wash them and enjoy those while she plays Fortnite. Okay. So there's a few things going on in that part of the prompt. Okay, so let's break that down because this is important for when you're writing your own prompts and creating your own content. Okay. So first thing, we want them to be short, 1 to 3 sentence post. Okay. We want them to be more statements and avoid questions. I do that because when I ask ChatGPT to write questions, they tend to feel a little corny, right? They almost feel like what do they call, like thought leader type stuff. And I don't want to come from that thought leader type of perspective with my audience. I want to be as authentic to myself as I can be when I'm engaging. And I don't want to engage with that, kind of floofy, high-minded type of stuff. I want to talk about like what's really happening inside of these businesses. Okay. So we want to avoid questions, but we can use questions there, right? We can use trending topics as well, but only if they can be related to business. And that's a little bit weird there too, because it can be corny there sometimes, but that's okay. We're going to post this stuff anyway, because we're just going to trust that it's going to get the type of engagement that we're looking for. Then we're going to tell ChatGPT exactly what the goal is, right? The goal of these posts is to generate discussion. Okay. The whole idea behind the post. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I think it's really important, to note that how incredibly not verbose, but detailed this prompt is, right? I mean, just how much you've put into directing ChatGPT, because it's a full language model. Like when it understands, I mean, it understands the difference between somebody saying their cell phone died and that their uncle died, right? We've talked about that before. It's like
Right.
it has understanding, right? And so, by giving all this prompt, this the groundwork, right? By getting all this groundwork and moving it forward, you're going to get a more accurate representation of what it is you're looking for, right? Rather than just
Absolutely.
give me 3 posts about business, right? Because there's an
Right.
AI built into Facebook engine, which we can get it to, where you can have it create these prompts and do it. And it works well. There's something about being in as far as I'm concerned, there's a little bit different in, as far as how it sends the prompts and being able to do one prompt than another. The way it's built is it sends the prompt out, whatever that is, and then you're supposed to come back with something, right? It'll come back with a little something. Whereas the thing about ChatGPT, and the thing we'll get into in a little bit, is you can preface it. So here's the prompt, and the next thing I send you, I want you to do something with, right?
Right.
And you can't necessarily, that's not how most of and it's not just our product, most products are just, because there's a complexity to that, right? You're acting as an automation, right? Well, you're not an automation, but you're manual. But the idea is that I would have to write something that then goes, okay, here's the prompt. You send the prompt over, and then your preface to the prompt, and then you send the actual prompt, and it uses the previous information to guide that prompt. And we'll run through a quick example here today, when we're done with this part.
Absolutely. And you're 100% right about that. Where again, when we're talking about implementing AI inside of an organization, right, where we're taking the ChatGPT language model and limiting the scope of its knowledge, right, to only what this business may do, right, and making it so that it can only talk about your business and from a customer service or a sales or even a marketing perspective, right? That's very different from what we're doing here in this space where we're really, and the goal for this for me is to increase my audience size and engagement, right? I got tagged as one of Facebook's rising creators, right? So they're going to show my stuff to even more people, right? So that's why I have in here. This should be for a broader audience, right? And I'm going to be authentically me, not specifically when I'm making the post and the prompt, but when the comments start coming in, that's where you actually start talking to me, right? And I'm going to just be who I am. Sometimes that's very unprofessional, right? Sometimes but I'm going to say what it is that I have to say in that space. And this is just giving us an opportunity to connect with more people, and that you have to figure out what your goal is for your social media post. It might not be increased engagement. You might want to be more informative. You might want to do how-tos right there in your post. And we can go over how to do that and kind of the back and forth of that. But for this exercise, what we're creating is the posts for the next few weeks that are going to be just about getting people to engage with the post and comment and like and share and that type of thing without saying comment, like, share, right? Then we could go back and create other posts that are more how-tos and instructional and that type of thing. But for this purpose, this is what we're doing here. Okay. So I said here in the prompt, post can reference trending topics, but only if the topic can be an analog to entrepreneurship or business. I might take that part of it out. I might take that part of it out. We'll take that out.
Well, I would change it. And here's the other thing. It is a language model, so precision in language is important. Capitalization, comments, punctuation, it's all important. So what I would do is where I would use the word where's okay. So we're increase engagement, blah blah blah. Where's the trending topics? Can you highlight that for me?
Post can reference trending topics right here.
If they're, one thing you could say is where or if they are related to business, AI, or marketing, right? So, like, again, highly precise on what we're looking for.
What's the word that I'm looking for here to, like, not that it can be not necessarily related, but, and I don't know if analog is the right word either, but it's like you can use it as a euphemism. Euphemism usually has a weird connotation to it, though. For business, like sometimes, so like I have posts that I've written, right, from like say for example, when the Padres beat the Dodgers and eliminated them from the playoffs, right? As
Yeah.
a, I think they were a 5 seed or a 6 seed in the
Mhm.
playoffs, or even look at today when I think the Miami Heat was an 8 seed and they just eliminated the 2 seed in the East, right? And then now they're going to the NBA Finals, right? And I had written something about that and related it to business and momentum and getting hot at the right time and that type of thing, right? Where what do you call that? When you relate something that's completely unrelated, but you say, they had momentum, your business can have momentum, that type of thing. What is that called?
Momentum.
That's not what it's called. All right.
I mean, trajectory. You know,
Post and
here
reference trending topics if
I'll
they
pull up the
are
thesaurus.
analogous. Analogous? Is that a word?
No, those are
Analogous?
things. Yeah, but well, analogous is yeah, it's when one thing's like another, but doesn't have anything to do with trajectory. You're taking two things that are not necessarily the same, but that have similar qualities and comparing them to, you know, I don't know. I'm not sure what you're going for, but yeah.
Let's see what happens here. Okay. So what I wrote here is post can reference trending topics if they are analogous to business, such as an underdog team beating a better team because they got hot at the right time. That's what I'll use. It might not come out right, but we'll see. So then the goal of the post is to generate discussion and increase engagement with a broad audience. All the posts should be written to be easily understood. And this part is really, really important. If you don't do this, if you don't include this, you're going to miss a lot of your audience. And it's not because, okay, people don't read. That's number one. And that's true. People don't read. But it's not just that people don't read, it's just that the way that people use social media is they're not really dedicating a lot of their attention to it. What I mean is
Correct.
they're scrolling, right? And so a person who may normally intentionally read something at a college level or 12th grade level or something like that. I think the average American reads at like a 5th or 6th grade level anyway. That person though who reads at that higher level, they're not intentionally reading something. They're kind of halfway reading. They're not putting that much brain resource behind reading your stuff. So you want it to be something that they can understand without having to focus on too much. And then the people who don't read
Well,
and comprehend as well, you don't want them to go, wow, that guy's really smart, and then have no idea what you're talking about.
one of the things that the way I look at it, well, not look at it, but part of the actual mechanism of how it works is you have alpha and beta attention, right? Um, when you're in the alpha state of attention, you're kind of like just cruising, right? So,
Mhm.
for example, you're driving to a place you've gone to 100 times, driving to the kid's school, right? When you get in the car and all of a sudden in 10 minutes you're there and you don't really remember the trip, and it's like, okay, um, that's basically alpha attention, right? And whereas when you're in a new place and there's lots of traffic and you're just kind of like totally aware of everything's around you, that's beta, right? And I could have my uh, letters versed. If you're a scientist, my apologies. But what you want to do, and what happens in social media is they're an alpha. They're just kind of zooming through, right? They're not paying attention at all.
I think we lost you on audio. Nope, you're done. Completely lost you. Your bar's not turning green at all in the streaming software. Well, now it's muted. We're having technical difficulties, folks. This is proof that it is actually me. There, I heard you say something there.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
There we go.
I don't know what you did, man, but you just like
I didn't touch anything. That's the weird part.
that's
So
weird. It just
where
stopped.
did you lose me? So
No, you
anyways,
were talking, and I was like, I do what I normally do when you're talking. I space out and stop listening.
you space out. So basically what I'm getting at it, one of the reasons we like YouTube is because people who are already in that beta state, typically when you're running ads, they're already doing research, they're already there. With Facebook, you have to punch them there, you have to kind of get them there, right?
Mhm.
And so that's kind of why people don't read, right? And that's why Facebook is harder, because you're trying to get them out of this consumption mode to research mode, right? Like, oh, I have to trigger your interest enough to go like, oh, that's something I want to follow up with. So and that's why you have to write in Facebook and things like that, these smaller, quicker, and you kind of try and get them out and start that conversation. Which is why with Facebook engine, it's as much a prospecting and conversational tool as it is any kind of it's not just a posting tool. Its main purpose is for you to be actively engaging with these people online, prospecting, organizing them, etc.
Yeah, and we'll get into that. I'll show Facebook engine just a little bit here. You use it much more effectively than me. I mostly focus on the posting scheduler. So you can show me like some really cool stuff in there, I'm sure. Let's see. So let's get back into this.
I think we should save that for another post. We'll just go through how it works and how to use
we can
it.
do. Yeah, we could do that. We can do that. Okay. So back to the prompt. Then we're giving it the goal, right? The goal of the post is to generate discussion and increase engagement. We want it to be understood by a person with a 6th grade reading and comprehension level. Okay. And then we're saying that the post can and should call back and reference the previous post where appropriate, right? So it can make callbacks and do like reference the post from a couple of days ago to get people back into conversations that they may have even had. So this prompt is relatively short for these prompts, but I want to go ahead and use this so we can see what it does, and then we can prompt further from there till we get the output that we actually like. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy this entire thing right here, copy, and then we're going to go over to ChatGPT. Now, I'm using the GPT-4 model for this. You can use 3.5 for this. 3.5 can't take as big of a prompt, but 3.5 could take the prompt that I'm using now, right? So I'm going to paste that in here, and I'm going to click go, and it's going to think for a little bit. Oh, it got right to it. Here we go. Did you know hashtag ChatGPT can transform your customer service? Imagine having a team that never sleeps, is always ready to help, and learns over time. AI ops. Okay, I like that. Think of your business as a sports team. Okay, we got a sports reference. Every player has a role. Well, what if you could have a star player that never gets tired and always improving? That's what AI can do for your team. AI in business is the hashtag. It's got a basketball thing there. Let's see. Question of the day. So now we have one that is going to be a question. If you could automate one thing in your business right now, what would it be? Your answers will fuel our discussion tomorrow. Okay, so it's prompting for tomorrow's discussion. That's pretty cool. So then here we go, day 2. So post 1, day 2. From yesterday's discussion, it seems many of you wish to automate email marketing. Picture this: an AI that tailors emails based on each customer's preferences and behaviors. Hashtag ChatGPT. Post 2. Remember that underdog team that won against all odds? This is where it gets a little bit corny, right? Remember that underdog team that won against all odds? This is where you want to put actual events in here. You don't want to copy and paste this specifically. They had a strategy, they practiced, and when the time was right, they shone. I don't like this one. Your business can be the same with the right AI. Okay. As we head into tomorrow, think about this. What's your business's winning shot? What advantage could AI bring you? Hashtag AI in business. So that's the first 2 days. There's 6 posts there. Out of the 6 posts, I probably like 4, maybe 5 of them, which is pretty good, right? The other ones I can sub out. I can write something else that's a little bit more fitting and go from there. Let's look at day 3. Post 1, your winning shots are clear now, automating tasks and improving efficiency with AI. But remember, just like a basketball player, your AI needs regular training to keep scoring those points. A little bit corny, but that's okay. Let's see here. Post 2, how often do you wish you could clone your best employee? I like this one already. With AI, it's possible. Not an actual clone, but a system that learns and replicates their success. That's a great statement. Let's do a thought experiment. If AI was a player on your team, which role would it play? Comment your thoughts below, and let's explore this together tomorrow. Comment emoji, basketball emoji. It seems to be using a lot of sports emojis on all these posts.
That's because you mentioned it. And that's the thing. It's so remember, it's still a system. It's still a fairly binary I mean, so it's gonna take everything you say and be very concrete about it, right?
Mhm.
It can make some leaps in judgment. But you say, hey, for example, like XYZ add sports. Well, it's sprinkling sports everywhere it can, right? Because you made that in the prompt.
Okay. So let's take some of these and make them into actual post. Okay. So this is what we call FB engine. Um, Here's the dashboard. I don't use this as well as Chad does. So when we come back to this in another podcast, Chad will kind of walk people through what it does. This is what I use. I use the autoresponder. And Chad's probably like grimacing internally right now because I don't have tags in here. I don't have any of the stuff.
I thought we had Zishan put them in, but
he probably did. I just don't, man, ADD, man. I just do what I got to do. Okay, there's an autoresponder in here. I don't use that. Chad will show me how to use that. But I think it can engage with people in posts, even though I like doing that myself. So here's the calendar for June 2023. Today is the 1st. Okay. If I click an empty space here on that calendar, it's going to take me to schedule that date and time. 6/1/2023, 12 a.m. Right. So it is currently 11:02 a.m. So we're just going to change this to a p.m. So this first post from this automated thing is going to happen at noon Pacific today. Okay. Now, as Chad mentioned earlier, there's a way that you can use this to actually generate AI content. The way you do that is you actually just literally connect it to your API key in ChatGPT. I think you have to pay for ChatGPT to get an API key, though, right?
we do. I think
I don't
so.
know if they. Somebody tell me if you use ChatGPT for free and if they'll allow you to get an API key. Either way, I mean, it doesn't matter because I actually don't use that. Right? What I do is I come in here. We're going to go back and make this to PM, and I just hit user generated content because what I'm doing is I'm actually prompting ChatGPT with much larger prompts that I'm going to be copying and pasting directly into FB Engine. Right? So I just copied that first one. I'm going to come back over here to FB Engine. I have user generated content clicked, and then I'm just going to paste that here. So this says, did you know that ChatGPT can transform your customer service? Imagine having a team that never sleeps, is always ready to help, and learns over time. Hashtag AI Ops. That's a light bulb emoji and it's like some kind of demon football player emoji. Is that accurate? What is that? Like a demon, is that Tom Brady?
No idea what that's supposed to be.
I'm pretty sure that's a football helmet with horns.
Something
It's
behind
the Rams.
it.
It's the Rams. They've got horns. Okay. This post is fine. It's giving me a good idea of what I can post here. First, I wouldn't use this first part like at all, right? Imagine having a team that never sleeps, is always ready to help, and learns over time. Okay, I would say something like, what would happen if you had an employee that never needed to sleep? Right? Is always ready to help and learns over time. So we're going to actually turn this into a question.
So, and to go over the structure of how this is working, like you said, user AI generated doesn't mean you generated it in AI. It just means that it will, and it's really more for little one-liner quotes. Like, give me a quote about X, Y, and Z. Give me a quote about business success or work-life balance. Those it works fairly well for. When you're getting into actual prompt engineering and building all that, that's not its function, right? It's just a quick way to get some quotes in there. And so to do like the bulk creation of, you know, 15 quotes for the next 5 days, that's where you need to, just go directly into ChatGPT and manage it that way, and put your background. You can use your background or upload an image,
Yeah. Okay, so I'm changing this to how would you use an employee? Put that word in there. Employee that never needed to sleep, is always ready to help, and learns over time. Never needed a day off. And learns over time. Right? And then I'm going to hit schedule post. So now, if we look at that same calendar, there's that post scheduled for today at noon. So let's do another one. Let's go back to ChatGPT. We'll say, think of your business as a sports team. Every player has a role. But what if you could have a star player that never gets tired and always improving? That's what AI can do for your team. Hashtag AI in business. I'm just going to do that one like as is, right? So we'll do that. User generated content. This first one is at 12 p.m., right? So then let's do this one at 2 p.m. And then let's paste that in there. Okay. I don't know why I have a lingering shift key. I guess my pinky sits a little heavy on there. Okay. So that's 2 posts scheduled for today. Let's get one more. The third one, question of the day. If you could automate one thing in your business right now, what would it be? Your answers will fuel our discussion tomorrow. Let's talk AI. I like that one. I like that one as is. Actually, it's probably my favorite one.
right? Because it prompts discussion.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. I'm just going to name this. What would user generated content? Again, it pays. Question of the day. If you could automate one thing in your business right now, what would it be? Your answers will fill our discussion tomorrow. Let's talk AI. Boom. So we have one at 12, one at 2. And so let's do this one. So Facebook always recommends that I post at 6 p.m. Whenever I try to schedule through Facebook, they're like, hey, Mike, most of your engagement happens with posts that you make at 6 p.m. So we'll do this one at 6 p.m. Schedule post. So there we go. Now we've got 3 posts scheduled for today, written mostly by ChatGPT. And that's really all that needs to happen, right? I guess our Zoom meeting just ended. Does that kind of make sense? And then you just keep going, right? Now, these are a certain type of post, right? Where we kind of they're not really pulling on anything that's specific for the time or day that they're being posted. Some of them are intentionally a little bit later in the day. They do reference posts from before. So you do want to kind of make sure that you're putting them in here in the Facebook engine and the scheduler in some sort of order so that it makes sense that you're referencing stuff from that you posted before, right? The trick here is to not let this be all that you're posting, right? These kind of AI generated prompts for conversation. Because the truth is, a lot of times people can kind of feel that, they can kind of tell. And the posts tend to be driven in one direction. What really helps out here is if between these posts, while you're on social media, while you're interacting with the comments that come from this, if you see something or hear something or something relevant for today comes up, you post that too. So that between the 12 o'clock and the 2 o'clock post, you got something else in there that's relevant. And then between the 2 o'clock and the 6 o'clock, you got maybe one or two other posts that are in there that are also going to be relevant. Because if you don't post, if you just put this up there and ignore it, right? When somebody goes and visits your timeline, all they're going to see is just kind of this same drivel that if you read it all together, kind of sounds like it came out of a automatic post writer, right? But if you're sprinkling in actual post about, the weather in San Diego, like, that's something that I just noticed today. I'm like, one of my kids, like, it was like, man, what's up? What's going on with the weather? And I'm like, yeah, this is wild. Let me post something about that. Hey, San Diego, I think it's time we admit we don't have good weather anymore. And then you can look and see what that type of engagement looks like. I can look here at what it looks like. We've got 450 impressions, 450 reach, 219 on post engagement, which is pretty good. Lots of laughter, 46 total reactions, 48 comments, 125 other clicks, and nobody blocked me or hid the post. That's a win. So then when I have these higher engagement posts, when I post stuff that's about business, things like that, it'll get more of that reach because Facebook wants to show more of my content to more people. Okay. That's how you can do that. Do you want to do some more or should we move on? Should we end this thing? Because
I think we're good for today. We're at 45 minutes.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, we are 45 minutes. And we didn't even do the intro music. What's up with that?
Nope. We forgot the intro music, but that's all right. We started off with banter.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us for lunch. I ate nothing, but Charlotte got some grapes and she's playing Fortnite. Chad didn't eat. He broke his mic a little bit. That's fine. If you found this to be helpful, share it, comment on it, let us know. Do you have a way for people to get in touch with us on here, Chad?
Yep, I've been showing it a little bit. If
you've been showing the thing, I don't like that.
I have been.
I like this one. Yeah,
there you go.
That's the one I like.
Yeah, that's I mean, that just schedules to our appointment. But if you want to find out more about our Do With You marketing coaching, sales and marketing coaching, just go to that link and we'll have a conversation about how we can help you build your Iron Man suit for your business. So,
right. Like I mentioned earlier, this is stuff that we're doing for social media, but really our expertise lies in AI operations and helping businesses scale their efforts in sales, customer service, marketing at a very effective cost. So if that's something that you're interested in or want to talk about and maybe do some consulting there, then feel free to scan that link. You can always find Chad at askchad.net. And if you're interested in mic stuff, you can find that at mikepolite.com. That's it for this podcast episode of The Art of AI. We will see you tomorrow. Thank you.